You're on Global TV Talk Show, and I'm Ed in San Diego. And with us today is Alex Talbot in the Chicago area. And in the background is Sarah Simonati from Connecticut. Welcome all.
Thank you, Ed. Good to have
Yeah,
you. Thanks for having us.
yeah, this is nice. Been the first time, so thank you.
It is, yeah.
So I started this Global TV Talk Show as in 3 years ago as a result of the pandemic crashing my live event meetings.
Yeah. I
So
bet
what? Yeah,
the first one I ever went to was San Francisco, like probably 15 or 16 years ago.
long time. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I haven't done any of those since February 27,
20.
2020.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was in Washington, D.C. And that was the last one. That was sold out. Then the next week, that was it. The
Wow.
government said, you don't do that anymore. Right. Okay. So here I am doing this. So since then, I've been able to produce and distribute 550 programs. And according to Google Analytics, it's generated an audience, what they call audience views, of about just under 220,000
Wow.
cumulative. You
Hmm.
know, 100 countries, they say. Um, but the reality is that US and Canada, 70%, uh, Europe, about 20%, and the remainder, Asia Pacific, mostly mostly Hong Kong, Singapore, Shanghai.
Okay.
So a little bit here and there everywhere else. So in Europe, our biggest is UK, of course. And,
Right.
and Germany and France are number 2 and 3. So
That's really cool.
the sh-
Congratulations.
thank you, thank you. So the shipping news is we have terrible earthquake yesterday impacting the Middle East,
Yeah, I saw.
and not just Turkey and Syria, but even I saw that in your memo. Lebanon was impacted.
And it was felt in Lebanon, but it's terrible. It's really going to be one of the biggest disasters of recent times for sure. And yeah, the loss of life is terrible, and people are still in shock and still digging themselves out, literally digging themselves out.
I
Uh,
was reading in the press earlier today that a lot of countries, including Israel and everybody, are jumping in to help out. And so maybe this terrible tragedy will bring people together.
bring some peace. It usually does, right? And it's unfortunate that is what it takes. On the shipping side of it, I saw pictures this morning of one of the main shipping yards there in flames. There was some fire. You know, some of the stacks of containers had fallen over and caught fire. I haven't seen any video, but I saw a picture.
And where is this?
That was in Turkey. I forget which port it was, but yeah, I can forward it to you. I know it can help.
Yeah, and no, I don't need to see it. But yeah, I read that there wasn't, I didn't read of any damage in Istanbul, but south, yes.
This is I'm gonna butcher this name, but it's some containers that toppled at the port of Iskenderm, Durham. And when they toppled, they caught fire, and so there's the big blaze there at this port.
So the shipping crisis from yesteryear, well, not that long ago, a year or two ago, was that it was hard to ship anything, and whatever ship was astronomically priced.
It was
But
incredible. Yeah, 5, 6 times normal freight rates. You know, I mean, it used to be able to get a container from the far east to the west coast for a few $1,000s. It went to 20, 25, $30,000. It was incredible.
so, but customers still paid that though, didn't they?
They did, yeah. Some pushed back. You know, some felt like for some reason that our industry was above the global economic, above what companies like Target and Walmart and Home Depot. You know, I mean, those companies, Home Depot and Target specifically, they went and got their own vessels. They started chartering their own vessels because they got tired of paying those rates. So it was pretty bad. And then on top of the freight, you had massive congestion at the ports. So unfortunately, a lot of customers felt pain with the port charges because, you know, the shipping line doesn't pay those fees for the containers to sit at the dock while, you know, while it's going through customs or not being moved or not being able to get picked up. So, yeah, and it's incredible because, their customer service, you know, those big shipping lines, their customer service was the worst it had ever been. Yet they were record-breaking profits quarter after quarter for all the major shipping lines during that time. And then now you see on the news line, you know, headlines for them that they're complaining that, you know, those times are over and it's becoming more competitive now, which is good for our customers.
So currently, people can ship household goods and other things without any difficulty.
Yeah, things have never been any better than, you know, for the past 3 years, this is the best it's been for sure. There's no real restrictions as a result of COVID. You know, China has now is pretty much abandoning that zero tolerance rule they had. So that'll have a big impact on getting the shipping network back online. So it'll take some time, but you know, when they kept shutting down due to the, you know, zero tolerance policy, it affects the whole global shipping chain, you know, because those are some of the biggest ports, biggest volume ports in the world, in China.
So let me ask you, are corporate moves happening now?
Oh, yes. Yeah, we were up 75% for our international global work last year. And this year started out very strong as well.
Good.
So yeah, it's been really good. And the best part is the costs are coming down already. We're seeing that, and the transit times are improving. You know, really able to go back to delivering on better transit times because it was tough for our teams to manage when the shipping lines are so unreliable for such a long time.
So this program, if we just jump aside for a second,
Sure.
just to be sure, because this is your first time on the show, this is going out live, but the major 99% of our audience for this program will be going forward in the marketing and distribution across our networks.
Mhm.
And so this will be sent out to more than 100,000 recipients. Of
Okay.
course, it doesn't mean that everyone's going to open it, but a lot of people will, particularly, you know, those of us connected with the industry.
Of course.
So it'll be a very strong eyeball count in the next 30, 60 days.
Okay.
So this is what we do that makes it a little different. Rather than try to build up a live audience for today, it takes too much effort and too much money to do that. And nobody cares about today, but they do want to see what you have to say.
Sure.
But they can see it and learn as a learning device, training device at their leisure, free on demand going forward.
All
We distribute it through globaltvtalkshow.com and our own globalbusinessnews.net and our own YouTube channel, which is very active anyway. But the majority is out through LinkedIn.
right. Okay.
Yeah, and our long list of corporate contacts and industry contacts built up over the years. But through LinkedIn, this is really a wonderful distribution source for us. I've been involved in LinkedIn for over 10 years, and we have 36,000 connections and followers, which is, of course, a big number.
Yeah.
But more than that, through the group memberships, you know, like FED or Household Goods Referral and things like that, IAM, there's a lot of groups that I've been a member of for a number of years, and the distribution through those groups is where the action is, because there's literally thousands of capable audience. Doesn't mean everyone's going to open it. So that's why in the show notes that we do, the program notes, will explain briefly, just in bullet points, what you and I have been talking about the shipping, the activity, the rates, and this is what will pique interest and people will click on it.
Right.
Okay, so with that in mind, what other INTERCONEX news would you like to use this platform for at this moment?
I mean, I don't want to turn it into an advertisement, obviously, you know, I think.
Well, why not? This is Public Relations 101, and this is your audience out there in Edland.
Well, I mean, and where we excelled, I think, during the pandemic and the shipping crisis that followed, because right, it was two separate events a little bit. Is that I think we did keep our clients and customers and partners very well informed of what was going on during this time. We had a newsletter going out regularly that tracked the borders, ports, and the ability to perform services in over 150 markets. We were tracking that and reporting on that in real time, which is something I think some of our governing bodies should have been taking care of in our industry, but we were doing it, and it really grew our newsletter fan base because and our
Good for
clients.
you. Good for you. Yeah, people are starving for information that's honestly put together, that's authentic, and distributed without bells and whistles.
Yeah, and that's what we did. You know, it was very, and even you see our newsletters today, they're not a lot of fluff. I'm adding a little bit of it in, you know, some of the because we have some phenomenal customer testimonials from our transferees, and these comments just stay in house with our clients. So it's about time we start, you know, sharing them. If we've been a leader in our space in terms of quality, we've won countless awards. We won some of the highest awards last year, as we have for the past couple decades. But what we're terrible at really is marketing, which is why when you ask me a question like that, we just don't think like that. We're about service. We're about building long-term relationships with our employees, with our partners, and with our clients in that order. To have multi-decade-long relationships, which we have. We have employees that have been with us for over 30 years, and clients that have been with us for longer than that, and partners, of course. So that's really always our focus first. And to a fault, maybe marketing has always been on the back burner.
Well, that's why you are here today on Global TV Talk Show, because this is my sole purpose, is creating positive public relations. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's talk about the company itself. Now, I remember INTERCONEX from a long time ago. I had met the family members, I think from China, Hong Kong. Yeah. And they were an advertiser. And they showed up at our conferences, our original conferences, for 20 years, I think. And then here we are today. So I'm getting back into the live conference business, albeit tiptoeing slowly, because we did over 350 live events going back 30 years, and then all of a sudden nothing. And I've gotten used to not doing anything, not spending any money. So
nice. A lot of us did, right?
So yeah. So now it's back to the old days, but new days. So we're going into Europe in early May with London and Paris and Hamburg. Looking forward to Hamburg, and because it's a big shipping port, and also Scandinavia. We're going to do a Scandinavia event, and we're also going to do Milano on this trip, all in one trip. And then later in the year, we'll go back to Europe and do other capitals. Yeah, and then we're also going to be doing Latin America, but there's no dates on that yet. So very interesting times, and it's all because of the pandemic and the successful utilization of the Global TV Talk Show as a communications device, bringing people and companies from across space and time onto this platform to meet and greet. And that's exactly what's happened. And so now we have built up a trust and authenticity factor to generate significant interest in these upcoming live events again. So thankfully, we've had this opportunity to survive, not to mention grow. So I welcome you guys to come back and be more involved as you want to, and use me as a PR device. And as you do that, you communicate to your own audience and to new audiences. So it's a win-win.
Yeah, absolutely. We're like I said, we are trying to focus more on the marketing side of it a little bit and tell the great story that is who we are. And it is a great story. I'm very proud of it. I'm proud of our team, and
Yeah,
we're trying to get our name better out there,
yeah. So I thank you very much for this few minutes.
Of course.
So INTERCONEX is part of a bigger group, right?
Yes, we are. We're own Mike Keller and Grace Bashar, who own Paramount Transportation and Kinetics, purchased INTERCONEX, which at the time was Interdene INTERCONEX when we were owned by JP Morgan Chase. So we were JP Morgan Chase, Interdene INTERCONEX for about 5 years. And then right before Christmas 2005, the band was broken up, and Mike and Grace purchased INTERCONEX, which I think is officially owned by Paramount, not Paramount Transportation, but Paramount Incorporated. So there's a parent company that oversees the three companies.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Okay, well, thank you very much. And if you have any questions, if not right now, then in the future, just let me know. We have a lot of information to share and a lot of eyeballs that we reach.
Very good.
Yeah, great.
Thanks so
Okay,
much for having us, Ed. I really
thank
appreciate
you. Thank you very much. I'll be in touch. Thank you, Sarah. Take care. Ciao.